Hey everybody, welcome back to another video today, and I'll be talking about something that I've been putting off for a while, and that is Notre Dame. Has to do with Notre Dame football, and that is coming up right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to I Am Just Justin. I'm Just Justin. You can call me Just Justin. You can call me Justin. Just nothing inappropriate, okay, people? All right. So yeah, I'll be talking about Notre Dame, and they have prestige college and a great national presence in football. Okay, but there's some controversy stuff that's been going on the past few years, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start off. I'm going to look at some notes really quick here. Okay, the storied history and the prestige behind Notre Dame. Neutral sites, yes, neutral sites, and the Shamrock Series strategy. That. All right, so the Pop-Tarts Bowl opt-out controversy. Okay, we'll be talking about that. The 2026 football season breakdown and where ND or Notre Dame stands. Okay. And then we're going to give my a few opinions. I mean, this whole entire video is my opinion, besides the facts. Okay, but I'm going to give my opinion. And then we're going to start off right here with the overall all-time win-loss record. Okay, so the all-time record is 916 wins, 327 losses, yes, and 33 ties. That's a .731% winning percentage. That's over 120 plus seasons, and that's making Notre Dame one of the top 5 winningest programs in college football history. So yeah, you can see Notre Dame has a great history behind them. 120 plus years. Oh, don't mind the mess. I'm going through some CDs and just getting rid of a lot of stuff. All right, so let's talk about the brand of Notre Dame. Okay, it remains a lightning rod in college football because they command the blue blood respect while refusing to join a conference. Now, that is going to bite them in the butt. Okay, they refuse to join a conference full time. They just think independent status is great. Everybody wants to play us. We will beat anybody. Okay, so, and then that's gonna come back and bite them in the butt here. And the prestige versus the modern day hurdles that they're facing. And one of the hurdles they're facing is their refusal to join a conference. And in the modern day college football playoffs. So, yes, that's one of the big problems, okay, is that their refusal to join a conference because they are superior. They think they're superior, my opinion, to everybody out there. So why join a conference? We can just do what we want to do, win, which they have been doing. They've been winning. But the college football playoffs, we'll talk a little bit about that here down in point number 5. Okay, and so that's kind of holding them back. It was holding them back, but something happened, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So we're going to jump into the storied history and the prestige of Notre Dame. Okay, so they have had a legacy of legends. Now I'm going to butcher most of these names. I apologize. Okay, they have coaching icons like Knight Rakine, Frank Lei, Ara Parmzagani. I mess all those names up. I apologize. Lou Holtz. Yeah, I didn't mess that one up. Lou Holtz. Okay. They've established the program's championship standards. Okay. They're the ones who came in and made Notre Dame championship material in the independence world. Okay. So, and they've also got traditional hardware. You're like thinking hardware, Justin, like this right here, this is hardware. This is an access point. It's actually just a paperweight now. It bricked itself, but this is hardware. Okay, it gets the job done. Okay, so national hardware for Notre Dame is 11 national titles. 11 national titles. 7 Heisman Trophy winners, and an elite overall program. Okay, record lead over. I can't talk. Okay, and an elite overall record program, like we talked about before. They have really set the standard to play. Okay, and the cultural footprint, as you can say, is the ironic symbols like the touchdown Jesus. Their exclusive NBC television contract. Who gets that? Notre Dame does. Okay, and that's one of the biggest strategies right there. Okay, and rivalry games keep the brand globally recognized. So if I had a primetime spot on NBC for my football program, that would be awesome. I think that's how they keep Notre Dame relevant in these modern years of playing football. Okay, so well, let's go into the third point or the second point: neutral sites and the Shamrock Series strategy. So usually when you play a team like BYU, I'm a BYU fan. Okay, when BYU schedules to play a team, they do a home and home. Okay, BYU will go to, well, let's take Miami for example. Miami came here to Provo, Utah. So Miami Hurricanes came to Provo, Utah in 1990 and got beat by BYU. Okay, BYU was supposed to go back and play them, but Miami canceled that. Okay, but they're always playing a home game series with the teams. Okay, however, Notre Dame has come to BYU. Okay, I actually went and saw them, and I do believe it was 1994 with my uncle. My grandfather had tickets to BYU when he passed away. The tickets went to my uncle, and my uncle gave them to me, and my uncle and I, we just sat and we watched Notre Dame. You know, it was a great game. BYU lost, of course, but you can smell the Irish coffee all up and down that end zone guest, all up and down the guest seats. But it was good. Okay, so usually that's how football's teams and stuff like that schedule. However, it's not the way Notre Dame does things. Okay, the Shamrock Series strategy. Okay, so they play at home. A team will come into South Bend and play. And then when they want to go back out, oh, nope, we have to do a neutral site. Okay, we have to do a neutral site. Because they're thinking that playing games like major NFL revenues gives recruits across key talent areas easier access to the team than traveling to South Bend. Okay, they don't want to come into a Salt Lake City or a Provo or USC and play on their home field. They want to go into a Allegiant Stadium and play because it gets more recognition for them, more profit for Notre Dame because they got that NBC exclusive contract. Yeah. Okay. And they have massive ticket sales. Okay. So you can go to Allegiant Stadium where they have like 80, 90,000 people and, make a nice little type of profit off of that. But is that really the best way to do it? I'm being too scared to go play at someone else's home. Okay, and they want to preserve the South Bend tradition. Okay, taking select games on the road acts as off-site home games. Okay, and it's allowing the program to extend its reach without losing home games at Notre Dame Stadium. Okay, so that's the whole entire strategy behind there. I want to play at a neutral site instead of playing at your home stadium. I'm going to play in a neutral site. It's like, okay, all right. So that's what they want to do. They want to go make the teams come into South Bend, and then they want to take the teams on in a neutral site. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll get into that in just a moment here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the Pop-Tarts Bowl opt-out they did last year in 2025. So Notre Dame was 10-2. Okay, and they were on a 10-game winning streak, and they were left out of the final college football playoffs rankings. Okay, the 12-team playing field. They were left out of that, and they were like, we were supposed to be in. We were 10-2, and we're not. We're supposed to be in, man. We're supposed to be national champions. Just give us a trophy. Okay? But that is kind of a crybabies of Notre Dame to do that. They thought, why should we play a lower tier bowl game against BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl? So Notre Dame's like, we belong in the playoffs, and we're just gonna opt out of the playoffs in the bowl games. We don't need that. Okay. All right. So let me put something in perspective here, Notre Dame fans. Okay. BYU ended the season 12-2. When the Big 12 championship was done, they were 11-2. Okay, they lost to Texas Tech twice, and Texas Tech went on to be number 4 in the college football playoffs, but Oregon ran over them in one of the bowl games. Okay, so BYU got snubbed out of the college football playoffs as well. Notre Dame. They didn't go cry and wanted to opt out of a Pop-Tart Bowl against a lower losing team. They took the bowl game because they have the desire to play. Yeah, it was sad that BYU was left out. Everybody knew BYU was going to get left out because they're not one of the top tier teams. Notre Dame's a top tier team, but they're not in the conference. So the SEC, the Big Ten, they take up the majority of the playoff spots. That's just how ESPN and the SEC and the Big Ten designed the college football playoffs. Okay, so Notre Dame crying over a lower tier bowl game. Yeah, that made them kind of looked ridiculous. Selfish, self-centered. These are all my opinions, okay? Just my opinions, okay? So, they think that if they're not playing the SEC or the Big Ten, that any other college football team is lower. It's not a top tier team, lower tier, and they don't want to associate them with that. That's just my opinion, okay? So Notre Dame, they're playing the ACC. But USC had to drop out of the game against Notre Dame. So Notre Dame was scrambling to find another team. And BYU, they redid their schedule and they opted to play Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's like, no. We go to a neutral site. That's the only way we'll play you. is at a neutral site. And BYU's like, no, 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 no. You will come to our home in Provo, Utah. Notre Dame probably did not like that, but it is what it is. Okay? So BYU and Notre Dame will finally meet up on October 17th. Okay? Notre Dame may be playing a lower tier football team. Okay? So that is like the controversy behind that Pop-Tart Bowl snub that Notre Dame did. Okay, so now we're going to look at the 2026 football season, breakdown, and where Notre Dame stands. Okay, so Notre Dame is an independent, and they've got some good football games coming up here. They're playing the ACC. They've got BYU, and they've got matchups against Miami and SMU. And so we're going to have to look at the roster. Okay, the quarterback, CJ Carr, leads a talented offense, complemented by a strong defense returning key starters. So Notre Dame is returning some great players, and they got a good quarterback right there. Okay, and we've talked a little bit about some of the games that are coming up, but they do have a season opener against Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. Oh, wait. Lambeau Field's a neutral site, isn't it? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're not playing at South Bend, so they don't want to play in Wisconsin, so they're playing at Lambeau Field. Okay. And then, we talked about how they're playing Miami, SMU, and BYU. Some other great matchups for this season. But right now, where Notre Dame stands, they're ranked as a top 10 program entering the year with clear expectations to make a deep college football run. After that snub in the 2025 college football playoffs, when they were all crying on the field, the NCAA went in and made a rule that if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 10, they'll automatically be in. I do believe it is. Doesn't matter, if a Utah Utes is better than Notre Dame will be in because Notre Dame's winners. Because Notre Dame's crybabies. Yeah. Okay? So, if you take a look at the conclusion here, whatever you want to call it, Coach Marcus Freeman, okay, he's built a good program to win. But right now, the postseason in the college football era remains the ultimate metric, but he's not achieved that consistently. Yes, Notre Dame's done good in the college football playoffs before, but last year they just were not good enough to get in. And but they cried and bullied their way into an automatic bid into a college football playoffs if they are ranked. So this is my opinion. This whole entire thing is my opinion. But you can go and watch the Big 12. I'll put a link in the description down below that goes out to talks about the Locked on Big 12 with Trey Toll and what his opinion of Notre Dame is and what big crybabies they are. Okay? So, Notre Dame, they've got a good team. They've got a good winning tradition. However, they think that because they played hard and their forefathers came before them, the coaches and stuff like that, the 7 Heisman Trophy winners, the 11 national titles they won, they think it should be handed to them that they play in the college football playoffs. And just why don't you just hand them the national championship trophy every year? They can go back and forth between Miami and Notre Dame. Don't even get me started on Miami. But they can go back and forth. They can flip a coin. Then Notre Dame will complain because the coin wasn't rigged in their favor. But But Notre Dame, if they want to get into college football playoffs legitimately, they need to join a conference. What conference? I don't know. But they think that they are good enough to play independently, which they have been for a long time. And don't get me wrong, I like Notre Dame. I would love to go to South Bend one day, do a good, great tour of that stadium, and see Notre Dame play at home. Don't get me wrong, I like Notre Dame. But even before the season starts, Notre Dame is a 10-point favorite to win at BYU. That's the one I'm know most about because that's my team. BYU is my team. Well, not my team. I don't own them, but they're my team. They've always been my favorite college football. Okay, and they're already a 10-point favorite to win. We haven't even started the season yet. Yes, Notre Dame is playing Wisconsin, their season opener. Great team. Wisconsin's a great team. BYU's beat Wisconsin. Okay, BYU is playing Utah Tech. Okay, so yeah, they're playing Utah Tech. Okay, Utah Tech. I know they're a football team. They're a good team. They are transitioning to play. Oh, I don't even know what fucking team. So yeah, BYU plays Utah Tech. Notre Dame's playing Wisconsin. All right. So those are the kind of teams Notre Dame can schedule, and BYU can schedule those as well. But they had a thing with Utah Tech. They had a series with Utah Tech, but Utah Tech has elected to come to BYU twice instead of BYU going down there and playing in their stadium. Okay, so yeah, there's exceptions to that rule. They don't play at neutral sites. So yes, they will have that grand marquee game at Lambeau Field against Wisconsin. But BYU will play Utah Tech, and then they'll play Arizona, and then they'll play Colorado State. Okay? They might not be the toughest teams. Well, Arizona, they're a good team. Colorado State's a good team. Utah Tech is a good team. It all will work out in the end. But why don't people wait until the week before the football game and say, let me see here, October 10th. Why don't they wait until October 11th and say, you know what? Notre Dame has struggled this season, so I think BYU might be a favorite by 4. Or Notre Dame's really showing a good program, BYU struggling, they're a 20-point favorite. That is the way to do it instead of clear out the season. Notre Dame's got a 500% chance of winning the national championship this year. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, seriously? But I can ramble on and on. But yeah, that's my take on Notre Dame. Okay, and they're opting out of the Pop-Tarts Bowl because they think that lower tier bowl games are not worth their time because they are a winning team and they are more superior than everyone else. And so we're going to have to see how the season goes with Notre Dame. And then I'll give my thoughts on the Notre Dame BYU game on October the 14th. That's a Wednesday. I'll have that video out. So why don't you do me a favor? Like this video so other people can like, oh my gosh, this video, it's got like 5 likes. Let's watch it. And then subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I put out that thought video on Notre Dame. Because here on Just Justin, it's a no niche channel. We talk about BYU football. We talk some Big 12 football. We talk about cooking. We talk about personal things that are going on in my life. It's a no niche channel. So it might be full of lots of good things on this channel. Some things you might like. All right. So that is my opinion about Notre Dame. And looking forward to the season to see where they're at on October the 10th. Actually, October 11th, after they play that October 10th game. And so, yeah, we'll find out then if Notre Dame's going to be favored or not favored. We never know. All right? So until then, keep it right, keep it going, and it's okay not to be okay, as long as you keep working on it and keep going. All right, so until the next video, I will see you later. Bye.